Welcome back to Master's and Doctoral Degree Tips and Tricks. Writing a research proposal with Clio. I know this process of writing a research proposal can be one of those challenging tasks to most students. And in this group, we try to break it into smaller, manageable units so that we make your life very easy. So in the first series, we talked about writing the introduction, and in the second one, we talked about the background to the study, how you can write your background to the study. And in all, we will be preparing for this 30 series, writing your problem statement. It's very important for you to master the skill of how to write a research problem, because otherwise, if you don't write a very good research problem, then you might as well not have a problem to present or to study. And if you don't have a problem, then you might as well not have a qualification. So it's very important for you to master this skill and to make sure that you write a good research problem, and you convince your examiners, you convince your chair that you truly have got a problem that is relevant. So what is a problem statement? A problem statement is a concise and a concrete summary of the research problem that you seek to address. And it should do at least four things. The first thing, it should conceptualize the problem. And when you are conceptualizing the problem, you are asking the question, or you are trying to answer the question, what do we already know? That is the most important reason why we do our background to the problem. We want to establish that what is already known in the literature. Then the second part is you are actually describing the exact issue or the exact problem that you intend to address. And in doing that, you are also trying, or you are answering the question, what do we still need to know? There's so many information that could have been, or so many findings, or so many literature that would be out there, or that people have, already presented as their findings. But you might discover that there is still gap in that literature. So that's exactly what we are trying to do here. We are trying to answer the question, what do we still need to know? Then the third part is we want to show the relevance of your problem. It's very important for you to make sure that as you write your research problem, you show the relevance of this problem. And in doing that, you are answering the question, why do we still need to know more about this problem? Why do we need to know more about this issue? Then the last issue that you will be you will be addressing when you are writing your problem is you are setting the research objective, or the research question, and in that you are setting the issue of what how will you know more, or how are you going to go out there to gather more information. So that's the more important thing, that you'll be doing that. Otherwise, if you do not have a research question in your problem, you might get some problem. You might get some issues with some reviewers or some examiners. So I advise you that at all cost, if it's possible, you need also to read your guideline anyway from your department. But it's good to make sure that you include your problem or your research question or your objective in the problem. So when do we write a research a problem or a problem statement? And actually, in business, in the business world, in the corporate, writing a problem statement is often the first step in kicking off an improvement project. And in most cases, the problem statement is usually a standalone document. You will find maybe 100 pages, 200 pages of just a research problem in the business world, especially with the big companies. They actually hire the expect in business in certain areas for them to do to be able to define the problem that they need actually to go and out there and address. Then in academic writing, of course, in academic research writing, research statement can help you to conceptualize and understanding the significance of your study or the significance of your research problem. And it's often several paragraphs long, and is the basis for your research proposal. So you need to make sure that you have that problem. You can't claim to have a study when you actually do not have the research problem. And the problem statement looks different, and it depends from different from different fields, from different departments, faculties. Also, it can also depend whether you are dealing with a practical problem or real world issue, or it's just a theoretical issue that you'll be dealing with. So it's very important for you to know what are you actually dealing with when you are coming out with a problem. But in most cases, for people who are doing their PhDs, it's mainly a real world problem. It's mainly practical issues that people are normally facing. But in cases like masters, theoretical issues are also accepted. But of course, in PhD, you might find some of the department also accepting theoretical issues. So it's very important for you to know exactly what your department requires. Then the criteria for selecting a good problem. You should be able to see it yourself or to judge it yourself. After reading your problem, you should check whether your problem has got a practical relevance or applicability. Is it relevant? Then feasibility or manageability. Can you be able to go out there and carry out the study? Some of the study are good studies, but they are not feasible. You can't actually go out there to carry out the study. You cannot collect data. So it's very important for you to make sure that whenever problem that you are bringing in, you are able to go and carry out the actual research. Then the relevance to the field, and underline the word relevance to the field is very important. If you are in the science department, you need to make sure that the topic that you are studying is actually relevant in the science department. If you are in food technology, it's also very important to know and to respect that. You should not go and take a study that requires agronomist or horticulturist, yet you are in the in nutrition, or you are a nutritionist. So it's very important for you to make sure that relevance to the field you have taken note of. Then researcher's competence and expertise. Most students you want to take some studies that are beyond your expertise, that are beyond your skill. It's always very good for you to assess your skill and make sure that whenever you are writing your problem, is beyond what you can manage. Then significance, of course, and the impact of the study. Then personal interest and motivation. Then the gap, research gap. Is very important for us to be able to see that the gap is here, and also, of course, the call for action or the collaboration. Then, so there are 3 steps that I'm going to talk about. When, of course, 4 steps, but I'm just going to talk about the three steps for now. The first one is to conceptualize. First step number 1, you conceptualize the problem. And when you are doing this, it's very important for you to take note that you are giving background of what is already known. That's when you are conceptualizing the problem. And these are some of the questions that you can answer at this stage of your writing the research problem. Where and when does the problem arise? Who does the problem affect? What attempts has been made to solve the problem? What is already known about the problem? Is the problem limited to a certain time, period, or geographical area? And how has the problem been defined or debated in the scholarly literature? The second step that you also be addressing is you want to show why it matters. You want, in doing that, you are addressing the relevance of the research. Why is it important to address the problem? And most students, they want to come out with always a groundbreaking and the world changing. Yes, at times you be lucky to find a groundbreaking study, but in most cases, what is more important is that the problem is researchable, it is feasible, and you are addressing a relevant issue in your field. And some of the questions that you also will be answering might include what will happen if the problem is not solved, which is actually very important. What exactly happens when this problem is not addressed, and who will feel the consequences of not resolving those problems? Then You can also continue some of these questions as well, that to show why it matters. Does the problem have a broader relevance? Are similar issues found in other contexts? It's very important for you to tell us that even if you are studying wherever you are studying, uh, it might be in Kenya, but we need also to know whether the same problem is in India or the same problem is in Mozambique. It's also very important that you also highlight. How will resolving the problem advance understanding of the topic? What benefit will it have for future research? Does the problem have direct or indirect consequences for the people or for the society? And it's very important for you to address some of these questions so that your study will be it will be relevant. It will be it will have a significant impact to the world of scholars. Step number 3, of course, you set your objectives or you set the aim. And it's very important to take note of that. If you do not set an aim in your research problem, then you might actually get some problem. You might actually face the issue whereby you are not directed. People does not know so where to. So by setting an aim, you are actually identifying a gap in a way, or you're actually taking your own path. You are actually telling us that, of course, in literature this is what is there, but this is my direction. This is what I want to do in trying to find solution to the problem. Then finally, the problem statement should frame how you intend to address the problem. Your goal here is not to find a conclusive solution, but rather to propose more effective approach to tackling and understanding it. It is very important for you to make sure that whenever you are phrasing these aims and objective, you also use the action word. If you have not listened to the video on how to set objectives, you rather go back and also listen to the video on how you can set the objective of your study so that they are researchable and they are actually manageable. Then, so as a summary, we talked about the 3 steps. Is you set out, step number 1, you conceptualize the problem. It is very important for you to take note that the reason why we are doing all those background to the study is we are conceptualizing the problem, or we want to reach a stage at a time whereby we now say, let's conceptualize our problem. Let's bring back what is known and what is not known about in relation to our problem. Then step number 2, show why it matters. Why is your research problem or studying that problem matters? Then step number 3, you are setting your aims and objectives. What exactly you intend to go and do in the field. And the 4th step is the research question, of course, and the alternatively, and the optional one is the hypothesis. If you go in literature, there are so many literature on how to write a problem statement. And this is one of the examples that you might also find. The scholar here, or this scholar have presented 5 steps. The first one is identify the problem. You first identify a problem, then you put the problem into the context, that is, you conceptualize the problem. Then, of course, you find the root cause, what caused the issue. Then you describe your ideal outcome, and of course you propose a solution or outcome, or outline its benefits. That's, of course, you call for action. Then features for a good research proposal. It's very important that you understand the importance of writing a good problem statement. And there are certain things that we normally check to see whether the problem is good. The first one is clarity. The research problem should be clear and easy to understand. And it's very important that we write it in a very way that anyone can read it and also can understand the specificity. The problem should be specific and clearly define the problem or the issue the research project aims to address. You need to make sure that this is clear. It is written clear and specific to the point, so that what you want to go and actually do. Then of course significance, we talked about that. Then relevance, the problem statement should be relevant to the field of study and address issues that is currently of concern to the researcher. Of course, the research question, we want to see a research question within your problem, and of course the objectives should be in your research problem. Then hypothesis, research hypothesis is of course optional. Some of the field requires it, some of the field does not require it. So it's very important for you to take note. If you require an hypothesis in your study, you need to make sure that you put one. Alternatively, some of the methodologies, like if you're doing quantitative, it might be very important, it might be necessary for you to make sure that you set out a research hypothesis. And this is one good example of a research problem. I always love this example. I find it very very clear for me, and it actually explains exactly. Although there are some of the features are not here. For example, the questions. The question is not here, but it's actually a very good. It's written very well. It reads various empirical studies has been conducted on Facebook using usage among adolescent girls, and these are the examples of scholars that has been cited. So by this statement, he is actually conceptualizing. He's bringing us to the is actually highlighting what has been studied or what is actually known. Then what not known is these studies have constantly found that these are the findings, blah 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 blah. Despite this highly visual social media such as Instagram, have yet to be robustly researched. Now he is now telling us where the gap is. I feel for the amateurs, this is one good way to start writing your problem. Make sure that you bring in all the what is known, what is not known from the background of study. Then of course, whenever you are writing a research problem, there are so many methods that you can use for you to write a research problem. And here the connection between your research problem and the existing literature, of course, background to the study, and you can connect your problem and the existing literature using phrases like the following. So the first one, although you can tell us your problem has been studied in detail, insufficient attention has been paid to why. You will address, if you phrase your problem this way, you will address previously overlooked aspect of the topic. And in most cases, there are always areas that are overlooked, and it's very important for you to pay attention to those areas that are often overlooked. Then the other example is how you can phrase it. The implication of X representing the problem study deserve to be explored further. And when you phrase your problem this way, you will be building on something suggested by previous studies, exploring it in a greater depth. Or the last one, it is generally assumed that X, which is a problem. However, this paper suggests that Y, which is a problem, blah blah blah. And in this way, you are actually establishing your own route. You are telling us you are going away from what is known, and you are moving from what's known to unknown. So that's some of the ways that you can phrase your research problem. So it's very important for you to take notice that writing a research problem is one of the most important aspects of your study, and you need to make sure that when you're writing the research problem, you have established the background, you have established what is known, you have established the gaps within the literature, and you need to make sure that you state the objective, you state also the questions. I hope this video has been useful to you, and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and tell other people to subscribe as well to the channel. In masters and doctorate degrees, we have got more to issue. Thank you so much. See you in the next video. Thank you.